A problem from Chapter 10. A researcher studied the amount of attendance at a professional NBA game to the cost of a ticket to that same game. Run a hypothesis test to see if there's a direct correlation between attendance at games to the cost of a ticket at a 0.05 level of significance. Here is the data that we will be using. In the left column is the attendance to a specific game. In the right column is the price of a ticket to that game. Now we will make a scatter plot using our data. On the y-axis, which is this one, we will label it with attendance. On the x-axis, which is this one, we will label it with price. Now, when you are labeling the axes, you do not need to label every single point. You can just make it the range from the lowest to the highest. Now we will go through and label every plot of data. Now that we have all our data labeled, we will look for a line of best fit. The picture on the left is a picture of your TI-89 when you first go to an open screen with all your apps. You get to this screen by pressing the purple apps button right here. Now we will find the line of best fit. Go to your stat/list editor in your main screen. Enter your data into list 1, which is the cost of the ticket, and list 2, the attendance. Then press F4 as shown here. You will then go down to regressions. Once you hit on the regressions tab, go over to 1 lin reg. You will then press enter and input your information. It'll ask for the X list. The X list is list 1, and your Y list is list 2. Once you input all your information, press enter. Once you press enter, you will receive this information. A equals B equals You will also want the R value and the R squared value. The R value equals the correlation coefficient. In this case, and R square is with R and R squared, you will always want to round it to 3 decimals. Now that we have found most of our information, we can find the null and alternative hypothesis. Our null hypothesis is, and our alternate hypothesis does not equal 0, which means this will be a two-tailed test. So there will be points in both ends of the slope. Once we have our hypothesis test, we can now find our test value. So this is our equation that we will use. So let's input our information. In our case, R equals 0.658. Then square root 10 minus 2. N is the amount of data points. In this case, we have 10 different data values. Then we'll go 1 minus 0.433. You will then go to your home screen on your calculator where you can plug this in. You will come up with the value of 3.756. Remember to round to 3 decimal places. We will start with putting our level of significance on the graph. Since we have a 0.05 level of significance and it's a two-tailed test, we must divide that in half, which will result in a 0.025 area on each side and 0.975 in the middle. To find the critical value, you will go into your calculator under Stat List again. You'll then go to F5 and press Inverse. Once you press on Inverse, you will scroll down to Inverse T. You'll come across a screen where it asks you for the area, and we'll start with doing our left side. So you will put 0.025 in the area, and your degrees of freedom, which is n minus 2, or in our case, 10 minus 2, which equals 8. Press Enter, and you will get the value of negative 2.31, which is your first critical value. Now, your critical values are symmetrical, so it'll be 2.31 on the other side. But if you wanted to do it just to be sure, go in and follow the same steps, but instead of your area, put in 0.975. So, in recap, on your left side, you will enter 0.025 and 8. On your right side, you'll put 0.975 and 8. And it'll bring you back to these critical values. Your test value of 3.756 lands in the shaded region, which means you reject. You will then make a detailed statement. In this case, it'll say something like, there's evidence to claim that a linear relationship is present. Now we will find an alternate y value. The question is, what will the attendance at a game be if the cost of the ticket is $30? So we're going to go back and use the equation for line of best fit, which is y equals 2070.35 plus 759.24x. So we are going to plug the 30 in for the x value to solve for y. So let's go into our home screen and plug it in. You can also do this by going into your calculator in the home screen and plugging in y1 30. This will give you the value of y equaling 24,847. and that'll be the attendance at the game.